gonna do some research on this and see if I can tap into it more.
Do you want to start a podcast episode right now? Just do vibe talk right now.
Well, I think I kind of like I can go into it another day, but like I feel like I kind of like don't have too much more to say on it tonight. Like I can
I,
really start the entire conversation.
I do have quite a bit to talk about that subject because that's something that I find very interesting. If you don't mind.
Yeah. So, uh, do we want to do the in-person podcast? Because
We can do that for the next
wait,
episode.
okay. Well, I mean, let me just think about some stuff first, real quick.
I think we already got like a really solid subject here. Let me here. Let me do like a quick bit, and then we'll just continue talking. Wait. Have you ever done podcast stuff before?
No.
Okay. I got it. I got it. Got it. Usually, okay. So let me just.
We're not
I
like
should have.
live streaming, are we?
No, I'm just recording. All right. So welcome to Vibe Talk. We had no plan for the intro. We just started talking about like a very interesting topic, and we decided to record. It's been about a year since the last
Yep.
episode. And typically we would have Brandon on, but Brandon's in Texas right now, and uh, yeah, we couldn't really plan things out. So we have Robert
Keeping it in
here.
the family.
Yep, keep it in the family. Uh, so for now we have Robert. Robert, like Robert is a very close friend of mine, and so is Brandon. We're all. I didn't think about talking before I said the thing, but Robert is like the third to our trio, so we're not sure if like do you want to like join the podcast like a co-host or because that'd be awesome, honestly.
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
Fathers, yep, Holy Ghost, yeah, we're the Holy Trinity of Vibe Talk.
Yep.
So
Um,
because of scheduling
Continue.
because of scheduling issues, Robert's gonna be with us today, which is not a bad thing at all because fucking Robert is more intelligent than I. He could probably bring a lot better and more intriguing topics to the Vibe Talk podcast. So
No,
I'm very
you
glad
got
he's
it,
on.
bro. You're social when it comes to this media stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not me personally, and I guess I could just kind of be being hard on myself, but I don't think I have the capacity to keep conversations going and keep jumping topics. Like I can do that naturally with people. Like if I'm having a deep conversation, like the one we're having right now, like I can do that, but when it comes to like an actual podcast, I guess like stage fright, I guess is the word, but I kind of lock up when we start recording because now I feel like I have to continuously keep on talking.
Yeah,
But
well then we'll just act like we're not recording and continue on, huh?
kind of like when we make like actual like YouTube videos.
I
But
mean, we have clip and cut, right?
exactly, yeah. Also, shameless plug. We both have YouTube channels. If you want to go see that, we make funny moments content. So yeah, to kind of catch up to speed on what me and Robert were talking about, we were talking about the subject of clairvoyance, which is essentially like ESP, kind of sorta. It's kind of theoretical, not really a confirmed thing in science, but it's the idea that like you could have a dream about something and then either it happens in the future or scenarios happen that are very akin to it. So it's sort of like deja vu. If I had to explain deja vu, like you get a moment where you think you've been there before, and you're like, wait, I've seen this before, or I've dreamed about this before, or I've been in a very similar situation. So that's what me and Robert were talking about. Robert, do you, do you mind if I kind of like say what you said, kind of summarize what you
Yeah,
said?
summarize. Go ahead.
So from what Robert is telling me, Robert has very vivid clairvoyant dreams, if clairvoyant dreams is the right term.
Yeah,
And
I would say after doing some further looking into it, it is the right term.
yeah. Um but Robert's a bit okay, so I'm kind of comparing and contrasting between my own experiences and Robert's experiences because of my personal experiences, I've had I've seen or like I've experienced certain events and dreams and then later on in time, I'll kind of get a vibe that I've been there before. I'll have my deja vu moment. But Robert's is visions or like dreams, or they're like down to a T.
Yeah, like 100% accurate to what will happen or is going to happen in the exact given spot, no matter how random it seems at the time I have the dream. It's it can occur, and 1 out of 3 times does occur in real life. And again, down to the T, every moment is exactly like within roughly normally a span about an average of 30 seconds, the exact.
And you're telling me that in these like 30 seconds, like time has become stone. Like no matter what you do, it's almost inevitable. Like you can't change what's about to happen. You can only watch it.
It's like pretty much how to explain it is you watch a cutscene on YouTube. You're playing a game, and then you get that cutscene in the game, and there's no changing it. Like, I mean, just in a different perspective. It's like you've seen it before, you don't know exactly where it's at or where it comes from, but you know the situation sort of that you have to be in, but you don't ever see yourself getting there.
Um, have you? So when you experience these, have you made like an attempt to do something different? Like once you realize that something is happening, like you've had your deja vu moment, and you're going to experience a foreseen event, do you ever try to do something else, or is it more like it's happening, you're remembering the events as it is happening, so no matter what you do your brain will relay that you've already done that, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, the thing is I'm in a sense of realization as soon as, like, let's say the first frame of that memory comes to my head. I'm in that exact frame, that exact POV. No matter what I do or what I try to do, there's nothing to change that because like I would say, like, I mean, yeah, I mean there's nothing I can do to change it. I don't know how to explain it outside of that.
Hmm. Okay. um what's an example of something that's happened? Okay, so like you experience these things, has there ever been a time where like something big is about to happen and this is something that you've foreseen, but I don't quite know how to put it. Like let's say, sorry, I got a cough. um, let's say a breakup is about to happen, or a passing is about to happen, or something that you know that you could most. I know, like you just said, like these things are set in stone. You cannot change it. But like, have you foreseen something horrible about to happen, and then you actively attempt to stop that from happening because you have foresight?
Um, so of course, like if spoken language and telepathy are sufficiently different, you might consider non-dominant or right hemispheric localization, meaning that the right inferior frontal gyrus does participate in altering the tone and the rhythm of your speech to some degree. Meaning, I'm just playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say like when did you get a PhD in brain chemistry?
Dude, no, I'm messing around. Could you repeat or restate the question?
um, so let's say, yeah, I kind of drug that question out. I was trying to figure out how to word it as I said it. Um, so I know you said that these events are set in stone, but have you foreseen like a loss, or um like
Oh,
breaking up with
breakup.
someone? Yeah, like a
Yes, I
breakup.
actually have. But in those sorts of coincidence, I would call them more of coincidences. Um, because in those areas, like you had said with your grandmother's passing, um, it was sort of similar to me where I saw something that was like akin to it, but like so far out there that it didn't actually happen. But the exact same circumstances of that were met in a different light. Meaning, like, let's say,
The events still
like,
happen, but through a different lens.
so it wasn't from my POV that I saw it. It was from more of like a top-down perspective.
Yeah, like
Like I
third person.
view what other people were doing and knowing what was going to happen in result of that, like a third-person view.
Huh. Okay.
So it's a lot more odd, and I can't make much claim to that. And I would call that sort of um clairvoyancy more of a coincidence than a set fact. Like, I mean, it could be that I had just had an overactive imagination and was viewing something and um in my brain, in my mind, in my sleep, and then deciding that that would be the most probable outcome, and then it happened, or the fact that it was actually clairvoyancy. Um, but the only thing that I can determine as myself that was clairvoyant were or are and consistently continue the dreams that I have that always match to a T from my own point of view.
Hmm. Okay. I think I get it now.
Yeah, so it's a different way of thinking. Like, I don't know. I would really like to study more on it now that we've actually gone to the topic. I know I've tried to explain it to you before, but not really found the right words. And I think this time I'm getting my point more across, but it's not something that I've actually had a conversation with someone about and I had them understand or like agree.
Or
Like,
experience something similar, if anything.
yeah, yeah. So, like with me being colorblind, for instance, I can go and talk to someone else who's colorblind or explain that better. Like me being colorblind, I, perceive colors differently, but I recognize the same colors you do as with the same titles you do, even though I'm gonna see it completely differently than you will.
So, like, my red is not your red sort of situation.
Yes, exactly.
I like that. I like that concept a lot. Kind of sidestepping here for a second. I like the concept of my red is not your red because you can never truly confirm if something is the way it is because individually we're all going to see things differently, but we all agree that, the sky is blue, you know? But from your perspective, blue could be red, or red could be yellow, yellow could be purple. And it is just, and I guess if you look at it through a different lens, like let's say blue to you was red, you would just look at the sky and it's like, oh, it's just that color, like blue is red. Like, okay, like let's say red, you see it as blue, but it's actually red. Like you wouldn't think of it as weird because that's just how you've always seen it, you know?
Yeah.
Or like I was black and you were black. I'm joking. I was gonna lead into a joke
Boy,
there,
let me
but
pour some LSD in your eyes and you'll hear the same colors I do.
you'll hear the same colors. Yeah, that should be an
Yeah, so
instant.
it's not as
Instant scene.
comparable like that. Like in those situations, I can easily explain that. And in this situation, I have not been able to, like, I guess, verbalize it as well.
Yeah.
But I do think well, thinking about it, uh I've kind of wanted to do some more research on the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve.
Yeah. So it's like VAGUS. But it stimulates a lot of your mood and communications between other parts of the body and your brain. And it is it is very interesting because actually, from my understanding, a lot of a like ulcerative colitis patients who are trying to get their condition into remission through naturopathic um naturopathic ways, they actually will use electrodes to stimulate their vagus nerves, where there's actually a pressure point on your ear for this nerve. So they actually use controlled electric shocks and like minimal like just I mean it's not like zapping the fuck out of you or anything like that, but
It's
it
just enough to
it's just like
stimulate.
enough to stimulate your nerve, and they tune that um to actually communicate with the organs in your gastroenterological tract. Um, to I guess, sorry, it's really late right now. I'm losing my words.
No, that's okay. For reference,
To
it's midnight, 12:27 right now.
yeah, they use that just to help stimulate the organs in your body and get them like working at the right pace. And it actually has a high success rate.
I wonder how like we figure this shit out. Like how we figure out, oh, okay, just strike this nerve and my ulcerative colitis goes away.
Well, I guess for like a disease or condition like ulcerative colitis, you can't necessarily make it go away, but you can trick your brain not to recognize it, which is the idea of remission.
So like
Like, I
biohacking
actively
kind
have
of.
asthma, but my asthma is in remission. My brain actively does not believe I have asthma at the moment.
So
Some
how does
subconscious
your
part of my brain does not believe that. Like, it's a weird idea, and I'm like no neurologist, but just these concepts I have wanted to delve more into or deeper into.
have you looked up why? Okay, so like you have asthma, but your brain doesn't recognize that you have asthma. So how does that work? How does your brain not understand the fact that you can't breathe?
Well, asthma, you know, I can't answer that question to you at this moment. I would always like to do more research on it, but this is really far out of my field if I'm being completely honest.
Yes, you need to like collect
Yeah,
more
I need to do
information
some
to.
further research, and I'm not a man of much time.
Yeah, as of recently, we've both like been kind of not short on time, but
I'm short on
time.
time.
Yeah, yeah, we're both just busy people nowadays. Well, you're arguably much more busier than I. You
It
got
just
a lot
depends
more on
on
your
how busy
plate.
we keep ourselves.
Yeah, we had mentioned so like if you don't mind, I kind of want to backtrack to the clairvoyance
Yeah,
thing. And you mentioned something when we were talking about that. You're mentioning the idea of like free will.
yeah.
Like do you believe that free will truly, like not free will from, okay, so like how do you want to uh how do you want to enter this topic, like free will from a religious standpoint or like from a physical standpoint?
Well, I question free will because of the clairvoyance, like the clairvoyance premonitions or whatever you would call them that I have. I question if no matter what I do, I have a set path, but that doesn't stop me from doing things to improve the pathway I'm going down. But if I was completely sold on the fact that no matter what I do, I must follow this set pathway, it might ruin my brain. Like it might ruin my brain to the fact where I might just give up on everything, you know?
Yeah, like
Like,
you realize that you're not truly in control of your fate, so it's more like what's the point?
yeah.
I think that's what causes, and I'm not calling you it, I think that's what causes a lot of crazies, like crazy folk, who like
Yeah, and
they realize that like they're truly there's truly nothing they can control, and they just lose it. Like they lose their purpose for being. They Some people actually turn suicidal. I well,
yeah,
I'm not saying as like a fact, but I can imagine that like somebody who like well, they have great aspirations, and then they come to this theoretical idea, and they're like, well, fuck, like I guess there's
nothing we can do now. Yeah.
nothing we can do. And I guess that kind of depends on like what kind of clairvoyance or like what foresight you're seeing. Like, do you see yourself like thriving, or you find yourself in a penitentiary? I don't know. I don't know what people would be seeing because I'm not them. But yeah, I can feel like it would heavily affect someone's mindset.
Yeah, and I try not to let it affect mine, but I won't say it doesn't.
I, if anything, and I'm just kind of throwing it out there. If anything, you could probably just look at that as like sneak peeks. You know, like a trailer to a movie. Like
Yeah,
you're getting like sneak peek like teaser clips like for your future.
but the thing is, I don't, like I said, 1 out of 3 times. So if I have some vivid,
What's behind dream number three?
yeah, so I don't know which one is actually going to come through, like, or come true. Like, I don't know what's going to happen until it starts happening, but I have a clear idea of what could happen in like 3 different circumstances.
And one of the three happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not exactly. So what I'm saying is like I could have 3 different, which 2 never come true, and but they're all in different settings, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like just the 2 are just normal dreams and one is a clairvoyance. And
And
it's like mix and match.
you can never guess which one's gonna be the one. I guess that kind
Yeah.
of puts like a almost like a fear over your head because like let's say like you foresee something pretty horrible. So do you want to talk about the dream you had with me?
Well, this one was like, I mean, I would say it's kind of out there because it wasn't like it was obviously not a clairvoyance means from the point I had it, it was already back in time. Like the setting was just weird. Um,
Yeah.
but like, so I probably won't get much into that. Um,
I'll,
but like,
I'll probably just like briefly like say a few details and we'll just move on.
okay, go ahead.
So essentially, long story short, I should probably say for the record that I don't smoke or I don't drink. I don't really indulge in like a lot of
My
like
buddy used to peddle drugs. No,
yeah, no, I don't like smoke weed or I don't smoke cigarettes. Like I'm kind of boring like that, I guess. I don't really do that sort of stuff. And Robert knows me pretty well for that, just that sort of thing. Because in high school, like unfortunately enough, we had a lot of kids do that kind of stuff, hit off pens, hit off vapes, hit off all kinds of stuff. And
not just pens and vapes. Be fully truthful here.
yeah,
Coke,
just
shrooms, acid.
yeah, some pretty strong stuff. And it was kind of like just a mutual understanding between the two of us that like we're not those kinds of people. You know, like we don't really delve in something like that. But Robert had a dream that I was like really big into like marijuana, like smoking the shit out of it, and yeah,
Just
that
something out
was
of character for you.
yeah,
Like it
it
was just
was
like
completely out
not
of
right.
my realm, like out of my moral compass. And I that dream is kind of what started the whole idea of like, well, Robert then had brought up like how his dreams were insanely vivid, and then that turned into like clairvoyant dreams. So that's kind of what kickstarted this whole conversation in the first place.
Like I'm a computer science major minoring in chemical engineering. So my brain works a lot differently than, someone who would be studying a like I guess it wouldn't work as much or that differently, but I don't know much about the cognitive fields, I would say. So From my perspective, an example I actually use is I could dream about writing code and then wake up and then like I actively know what I'm writing in this dream and know how it's gonna compile. I could wake up and if I remember everything from that dream, I can write that exact code, hit compile, and have it work flawlessly. Like I just have uh like vivid dreams to where everything in the dream is accurate within my realm of knowledge. It's not like I'm gonna dream about like creating the cure to cancer and then like if I dreamt of that, it would be completely wrong because I know nothing of that field. But within the fields I know, I can do studies and things in my dreams that I will wake up and realize they actually work.
Yeah, because yeah, like exactly as what you were saying. Like you pertain to a certain field, so your brain logically is going to dream about most times. Like if you're doing something in your field and you dream about doing something in your field, it's gonna be more fluid. Like
Yes.
I don't know how to quite word that, but yeah, I get what you're getting at, and that also like while you're talking about that, I had a really good point to bring up. Uh, not a point, but like a concept to bring up, if anything.
Go ahead.
So remember a while ago we were talking about like how like some people have more like a logically built brain, a more logically built mind, and then some people just have like a more creative, like a more imaginative mindset.
Yeah.
So it was kind of more like because we haven't done brain, we're not neurologists and we haven't done tests, but we took the fair guess that like you're someone who's more logically inclined because of like what you do, you know, like you shit the math you do is like beyond me and the coding you do is fucking bonkers. And more of the stuff that I do is like I write, I create stories, I write I'm not like I'm just gonna continue. Like I write stories, I draw stuff, I illustrate, I create concept idea. I'm very creative. So the idea was like I have a more creative and imaginative mind, and you have a more logically inclined mind. So the idea I was going to uh, bring out is because most of my dreams are off the wall weird, like straight shit out of science fiction, like Twilight Zone level weird stuff. But a lot of the stuff that you have, and you've only given me a few examples. I could be wrong about what you're
Well,
dreaming about.
I do have like the same thing where like mine is just like completely inconceivable, like madness. But I do have a lot of dream. But even in those dreams, like I can read a sign, like everything in that dream. I mean, someone could mistake for reality just by the flawlessness of how it's carried out. Like I can read signs. Every piece is there. I could pick up a document on the ground and read it. Like my brain just conceives every detail that could be there and puts it there. Like just random details.
Do you
Like
think
how the
that
light looks in the light bulb, how the filament projects, um, like down to the glow of the filament in the light bulb is exactly how it would look in real life. Like just things like that.
how great do you think your memory is? Like not from a dream perspective, but like in reality. Like do you have like a like would you say like a photographic memory?
It's if something draws interest, I would say. I mean, I would say that, but at the same time, I do have ADHD, so it's like things will like fly out of my mind and then just get punched back in. Like it's like I don't know, I don't know how you would explain that, but in a lot of cases, yes.
Okay. Because again, comparing and contrasting, I don't remember like jack shit. I don't like when it comes to like minor details. I can't really remember. It's kind of like when we watch a Marvel movie and you're only really paying attention to like what's happening on screen, rather than oh they're on the main strip of New York. Like those details like I don't recall, but like I only remember like main events. But like you're straight up like remembering like the glow of a filament.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like in my dreams, like think about it as like you're watching a TV show with Easter eggs, I guess.
Oh, kind of like the new Fallout show that just came out.
Yeah, like I can just depict every single detail. Like if I see an American flag in a dream, it's gonna be with just the right amount of stripes in the right areas and the 50 stars in the same layout.
But you sure that's not just for memory? Because like I've had dreams
No,
where
no,
like
I'm
I'm on
saying
a
that part is gonna be like that part would be for from memory. Like let's say I developed the cure for cancer. I'm not gonna remember anything about that or how to do it because it's not like real. Like I have no knowledge in that phase.
you
But
depicting
from
from
things like the
fiction.
filament of the light bulb, I'm just a very attentive person. I catch minute details and I pay attention to them in real life. So they fill in the gaps in my dreams. Each minute detail.
Huh.
Like if I'm working on an assignment in my computer in a dream, I'm gonna use the exact same key presses, same functions, know how to operate the machine just like the machine would operate if it has a glitch caused by a certain action. That same certain action in that dream will result in the same glitch. If I look close at my monitor, I can see the red, green, and blue difference of each pixel in that dream. Like that's how well put together it is.
I'm going to emphasize this again. Very, very logically inclined and very attentive to detail. Now I know why you never sleep at night is because your brain has to like recharge before it takes like this like 5K like resolution snapshot of your dream.
Dude, it's like it's horrible. Like when I sleep, I feel less rested than I do when I stay up all night.
Because your brain's actively attempting to recall all these memories, like
Yeah, and
or
just place
the events of the dream.
everything into like a perfect sitting like scenario. Like when I hit the hay, like I was telling you, like in my dreams, like my dream last night about you, all the details, everything was perfect. Like down to the coil in the cartridge that you had purchased. I looked at it and the quartz in the middle of the cartridge was slightly burnt, and I could tell by the bottom it had been used because there was a drop of oil distillate, like a little sappy piece of it on the bottom of the 510 thread screw.
Huh. I
And
I don't have words to.
yeah, it was just crazy. And to this moment, even though that most of the details of the dream are gone, I can still remember that you were hitting the cart at 4.5 volts,
No way. 4.5 volts. Like even
which is
that.
insane. That's a pretty good huff. I mean, unless if you have like a really low resistance coil and you're hitting it at like 9, but like, I mean, that's like pretty much a dab from a, like, that's what, I mean, you have to have some pure quartz for that.
I I don't know why I thought about this.
Like
Um,
the clarity of the mixture or the solution of the liquid was just the right amount of, I guess you could say, blur, and I could tell by the visual of the liquid that it was an amorphous compound. Let me make sure I'm.
I don't have words to respond to this.
Yeah, well, so in chemical compounds, um, like take glass for instance, it's completely clear, but it's an amorphous compound. But if you take diamond, which is completely clear as well, it has a crystalline like lattice structure.
You're talking about like an actual diamond, like a
Yes.
carat. Yeah. Okay.
And just because my background on chemistry, I can depict those details within the dream.
I don't know, man. I guess you just build different. I don't. I never really have this sort of thing. Like I don't actively recall everything down to a dime. So I guess what you have, like, even though like it kind of fucks up like your sleep and like you can't rest at night properly, I'd call that kind of a gift, if anything.
Yeah,
Almost like a
it's
talent.
really weird. It's like really weird because it like honestly sucks in some aspects because the clarity of my dream, let's say like I just did a final in my dream. Like I'll remember all the questions on the final and like answer them all, get my grade, and then I'll wake up for final day, for the day of my finals. And they're all different questions because I just formulated within my head what the questions could be and how I would do the calculations to get there.
And fucking meanwhile,
Like
and
I'm actively using my exact calculator, using the functions on the calculator just like I would in the dream and getting accurate numbers. Like I don't know, it's just weird. Meaning that my
human
brain
calculator.
is calculating those numbers, but I can't do that while I'm conscious. I probably don't have the brain power to do it while I'm conscious.
Uh, I don't know how to respond anymore.
I think one time I actually I no I one time I actually woke up and did a calculation and I think I was like 3 decimal points off of what I got in my dream.
Huh? You. I hate to sound like a
And this
dick.
was like a
Wait, hold on.
calculation that was like 20 significant figures.
I hate to be a dick, but you've given like 15 crystal clear examples.
Okay, continue.
I don't know. We were you were talking about all these remembering the exact lattice structure of diamonds and chemical compounds and like predicting the final exam questions like based off your brain's computing ability.
Just by sheer viscosity and thickness
You should do
of
an
the liquid and how the light comes through it.
you should do an IQ test again. Maybe there's some,
Should I do
maybe
it like right now? No, I'm kidding.
if you want to spend a couple bucks.
I'll take a free one this time.
You want to do that tomorrow or like some other time
Yeah, for sure.
when you're you know not tired.
Tired. Yeah.
Your
It'd
brain's
be fun to do one when I am tired and then one when I'm like not tired.
you get a higher score when you're tired.
I, like I do when like while I'm like actively sleeping.
Yeah, and you still get a higher
No.
score. Did we ever even talk about free will?
Yeah, briefly.
Okay,
Yo, no, we actually went pretty far into that. That's kind of where we ended up here.
yeah.
And then you start
Oh,
talking about your dream, and then we or my dream about you, I guess.
yeah.
I
I,
don't have a whole lot of I guess I don't have a whole lot of questions for you on this aspect, but you said like you had dreams that were like akin to
yeah,
what
like
had happened in real
very.
life. Has that happened in any other circumstance?
Um, for the sake of the podcast, I'll briefly say the first one. So I told Robert that so my nana passed away in 2015, quite almost a decade ago, which blows my mind that it was almost a decade ago. But I remember I had a dream that she had passed away, but in my dream it had been due to a car crash. Like I remember seeing a pic. So she drove like this blue PT Cruiser, and I remember seeing the front driver end just completely smashed in. But a week later, in reality, she had passed away in her sleep. A better way to go, I believe. But that was kind of like one example of like foreseeing something. But as for anything else that's happened, I, funnily enough, I have a lot of moments where I'm leaving the gym and I'll get hit with that like. Actually, no. Let me say that. It's usually when I'm at the gym in general, I'll get these deja vu moments, or yeah. I'll get these moments, and you know how like you said that you when you realize that you're having a moment, like you realize it's set in stone, and you're more like in for the ride, kind of.
Yeah.
For me, with the moment I realize that hey, so this has started happening really recently actually. The moment I realize that I'm having a deja vu moment, I'll actively try to do something. Like I'll try to remember what I had dreamed about and do the exact opposite. Like okay, this sounds stupid as shit. I was having a moment of that when I was in my car. I was leaving the gym and I was having, one of those moments. So I shit you not, I just started, like this I started clicking buttons on my radio. Just to Yeah, that's what I did. And that sounds really stupid, but like I've been wanting to try to change the outcome of Deja Vu. And I shit you not, the moment I started pressing the buttons and shit, I remember that I had done that in this Deja Vu moment.
Yeah, so yeah, it comes to you at the time where you're doing it. Like
Yeah,
like even then you're like, "Oh shit, I already like did that." Like, yeah, no, I get what you mean. That's like
like fuck.
even
What
if you
else?
tried
What
to
else can
change
I
the path
do?
of it, you're just gonna follow the same path of it. Like and then come to the realization afterwards like, "Oh shit, I already did that."
Yeah,
It's like you're not actively thinking in the moment, you're just remembering. Like your brain is
remembering like on the
acting through
fly.
muscle memory that never occurred.
Yeah, like you foresaw something and now you're trying to change it, but it's already been set in stone, so you can't change it. I Okay, when I brought up the concept, I'm trying to figure out where. When I brought up free will, there was something I was going to talk about that because do you know Kurzgesagt on YouTube?
And I don't watch YouTube.
That's fair. He does like a lot of like he covers a lot of random topics. Like I don't know, I can't really describe his channel in one word, but he did a video on the idea of free will. Like, does it exist or does it not? And the idea, I listened to the first part about there's no such thing as free will because think about it, you're made of particles, right? You're made of atoms, right? And
Yeah.
atoms can't be destroyed or created. That's one of the laws of physics, or one of Isaac's laws of nature.
So you
So
get into nuclear science and it gets a little bit more wonky, but yes.
yeah, at a base level, there's the same amount of atoms in the universe right now as there was from the Big Bang. And I guess like there's gonna be that one asshole in there in the comments that's saying, well, actually, the universe is constantly expanding, so more things being generated. This is for the sake of scenario. So like your particles, the stuff that you're made up of, existed long time ago, like billions of years ago when the universe first started. Just maybe in a different way, a different structure, a different form, a different whatever. Because those atoms can be changed.
Well,
So
yeah, in the form of molecules, I know you're
yeah,
probably going over right now. Yeah.
and the idea is that Because the Big Bang had to come from somewhere, right? Something had to set off that bomb. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something about every particle in the universe has been pre-planned out, and therefore the particles that make up you and the particles that make up everything else have already been predetermined. So regardless of if you become a basketball star or a world class scientist or a tweaker under a bridge, like you don't really have a choice. Like the universe has already preset things for you, and it's not in a sense of like it's favoring you. It's based off something, if you want to call it like a higher power or something
Yeah.
else. I don't know. And the reason I brought the reason I bring all this up is maybe you're foreseeing a future event. I don't know. It sounded better in my head. Like you're viewing
Okay.
the
I
future
get
state of
what you're
particles.
doing.
I don't
I
know.
get what you're saying. I'm pre-visualizing, or calculating, if you will, subconsciously calculating the exact outcome per or via transfer of particles, sort of something like that,
Yeah. Is
just based off of the path or the flow, or like how the brain analyzes patterns is insane.
yeah.
But
Our brain
like
is
the argument that we
freaky.
only use 10% of our brains,
No,
I
that's
believe
been
that in our sleep, that our brains are nearly completely unlocked. So I
I'm
believe
gonna
that they can do a
the
lot more subconsciously than they could ever do consciously.
I'm gonna
They could
I'm gonna tell you right
put
now
things
that
together beyond their understanding, beyond our understanding, our conscious understanding.
I hate to be a dick, but the 10% thing, the whole your brain operates at 10%, that was
I did
debunked.
say like it
That,
was rumored.
yeah, that was debunked, I believe, in 2010s.
I mean, the argument that we use it. I know that it's not completely true, but there is no way that we have complete cognitive access to our brains while we are awake.
Yeah, because if you're cognitively aware, I,
Our
we
brain is
were
like a CPU. It's being used for various tasks. The tasks that we do or need to complete while we're sleeping are much less. Our awareness is completely lowered while we are in a subconscious realm of our mind.
yeah, the brain. It, I'm tired. I can't think. Um, I believe that we have the ability to do a lot of great things, like with the brain. But the problem with that is that the brain kind of puts limiters on ourselves. So, like, I asked this question in high school once. I asked our old biology teacher, like, what would happen if, okay, so like your heart's beating, you're breathing, there's blood running through your veins. Um,
Mercury, also known as a gut
okay, yeah, let's not bring him up.
penis.
All these fun, like the food in your stomach is digesting. Like all these systems are going off like right now in your body, right? Same thing as mine. And I remember asking the teacher, what would happen if our brain took off that limiter and we were aware of every function going off in the body? And she proposed the idea that we'd probably like be like in a state of like static almost because there's so
We'd
much going
fucking
on.
die.
Yeah, there's so much going on that like you wouldn't have any like cognitive space to think about anything else. And I feel like kind of like what you're saying, like on a subconscious level, like we can do much, much, much more. You can actually manipulate the subconscious mind. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, through like um sort of like lucid. It's like a lucid state.
Yeah, there. I was talking to my. It's funny. A lot of these concepts come from me talking to people. But I was talking to my grandpa one time about we talked about the subconscious mind, not the show or book. I know that that's a something, but um, they used to have TV shows back in the day, and let's say, fucking ice cream cone. You know, a picture of an ice cream cone like show up on screen for like almost a frame, almost like half a second. You know, so fast that like you don't notice it, but subconsciously you do. But what that does is it gets your brain to think about ice cream, and then like a couple minutes later, you're like, "Huh, I can really go for some Baskin Robbins right now." Like people use like TV shows, advertisements used to do that.
No, I completely get what you're where you're coming from on
Have
that.
you heard of that before?
Um,
Subconscious mind
I
flipping.
I have heard of it before, but I've had never had it like actually. I mean, other than being a kid, but like now, I haven't had it like actually like manipulate me like that. Like, you know,
Yeah,
I haven't had the same trigger to it.
I feel like the subconscious mind is also what gives nostalgia so much power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Kind of like here's a really good example. Like one of my favorite examples is you know how we get up really early in the morning to go to school. You know,
Yeah.
I dude, it's such a weird feeling now that I'm out of school and like I'll go to work, you know. This smell of like morning dew, like the wet lawn, you know, or just the air. There's something about the air that happens, but it's a certain scent, and it takes me back to like the first day of school. I don't
No,
know
I,
why.
I get you there.
Or like,
Like the lighting of the morning, the scent, the humidity of the lawn after the sprinklers cut out and it starts evaporating a little bit. Yeah, no, I get you.
and then like the smell of
Especially when
like
the
the smell of your
grass
new
is
clothes.
freshly cut,
Yeah,
like kind of the yeah, no, for
and
sure.
and your parents had bought you like this brand new shirt, and like you still smell the that new shirt smell. And it's a combination
Dude,
of things.
I mean this is completely random, but I wish my parents still bought me clothes. I don't
Yeah,
remember the last time my parents bought me clothes.
like when ever since you turned to ever since you became an adult.
No, I mean like ever since I had a job. Or like
Oh yeah,
ever
well that
since I
makes
worked for
sense.
money. Like I mean before I had a job, I had a job, you know, before I could legally have a job. I'm a man of many side gigs.
Yeah, you did, dude. Yeah, you've ran so many small gigs, but yeah,
Anyways, continue. Let's get back on topic. I don't want to run a mile on that.
no, it's okay. But yeah, that was kind of my standpoint is that like I feel like certain things happen like external factors and then that triggers your mind and then that triggers nostalgia and then you get the good feelings.
I mean, I would say nostalgia is almost like I mourn for it, you know, like if I have nostalgia, it's like something I miss. It's it's sweet but sour. But
Yeah,
I get what you mean.
I get that.
Um, and a lot of what was I gonna say? Yeah, but on the yeah matter of the subconscious mind, I feel like a lot of our like you don't need fine motor control when you're sleeping,
Yeah, because
you
you're
know?
asleep, you're not doing anything
I mean,
external.
like that's if you ask me, fine motor control and awareness to our senses are like probably like two of the biggest things that we deal with like on a daily basis. Like those are our like those are just how we get through, you know. No
Yeah,
matter if you're sitting in your chair, you're like every operation you do is fine motor control. Every like twitch you make,
conscious or subconscious.
yeah, conscious or subconscious, takes so much out of you. But when you're in your mind and you're sleeping and you're just there, the only actions that are happening are normally passive. Like, okay, there's passive on two different levels. There's passive as my body breathes, my lungs open,
Something that
and
takes
they
almost zero
contract,
effort.
they relax and they contract. But there's passive on a different level, like not just to where my, heart as more of a mechanical, um, a mechanical like organism. It's like if I think of active and passive uh to like what I do consciously and subconsciously, it would be the actions of my body, such as my heart pumping, my lungs relaxing and then contracting,
More your
and then
diaphragm as well.
um yeah, like those are what I think as active and passive. But if you think on the level of the brain, there are different. I mean, it's a whole different level of active and passive. Now you're um technically on the level of your brain, depending on what part you're talking about, the pumping of your heart is actually an active motion, or the contracting and relaxing of your lungs is an active motion. But the digestion happening in your stomach would be passive because that is controlled by the acids and chemical balance pH of your stomach.
That
Your
too, but like the it's still traveling through because you've looked you know what the small intestines look like. Like there's still muscles and shit moving around to
No, I'm saying
get
just
fecal matter
focused
through.
on the stomach, like not the whole gastrointestinal tract or anything else.
Right.
Like it's it's a whole different level. Um, like when you're thinking of, the standpoint of your brain, passive and active, in the standpoint of you as a whole, passive and active,
Yeah.
uh, on, how cognitive you are, or, your cognitive stance at the moment,
Somebody
how
racing past
aware.
your house.
So, when you're sleeping, like I said, fine motor control and senses, they aren't there. There are probably many of other things that aren't there as much, but that power, that reserve, there's no need for it. It just can full-fledged play into your imagination
It's almost
or
like taking a
whatever
load
else is
off your
going on
schedule.
into your brain.
It's almost
What?
like it's almost like taking a load off your schedule, kind of, and I can focus on something else. You know?
Yeah, and I hate to compare this to computers again, but like it's like if you're running like super intensive tasks and
Like
then you just close them and empty, like, playing games, running benchmarks, and then you just close them and open a Word document. That's pretty much what it is. You like run your PC on idle, put it in sleep mode. I don't know, like it's not doing much.
yeah, like it's active, but it's not like
Your
active
hardware
active.
usage isn't going to be as heavy.
It's like passive activity.
And like just different things as your metabolism decreases,
Even your heart rate decreases actually.
your heart rate decreases, your breathing decreases, your your aging slows. The release of hormones within your body decrease on the rates they release and the amounts.
Right.
And one thing that I had done some deeper studying into is actually caffeine's act on the brain, which how caffeine acts in the brain is it connects to the same neurotransmitters or neuroreceivers, I guess you'd say. Uh, Adenosine, I believe I'm saying that
Adenosine.
right. Let me just make sure, fact check myself.
Okay.
Yeah, adenosine. Okay, adenosine. The neuroreceptors are the same receptors that trigger your sleep, right?
Right.
So what caffeine does in your system is it attaches to those those neuroreceptors so they can't receive the neurotransmitters that that make you tired. But over time, your body um creates a higher amount of neurotransmitters, your brain,
Right.
it can actually feel tired. After that, you have a much higher crash of caffeine because there's or when you don't have caffeine because all those those neuroreceptors, the adenosine receptors, are all filled and not with caffeine. Like you're just so much more tired, which makes you need to up your dose of caffeine. And this is actually what happens with a lot of stimulant drugs in different ways.
Like you kind of um fuck you build a tolerance to it.
A tolerance and a repercussion.
Yeah. But after each time you uh like let's say like the moment where like not when you peak, but like when your brain starts requiring more, the more damage you kind of do yourself.
Yeah,
I to be honest, I think I may have screwed myself over because
it can
I
return all over time.
dude, I ingest like an ungodly amount of caffeine. I don't know how much. I never really counted like how many milligrams. But like, dude, I have like several cups of coffee a day. Sometimes I'll have a couple energy drinks. Sometimes I'm not really with energy drinks so much because that's expensive now. But what happens is that if I don't have any caffeine, I legitimately almost fall asleep on my feet. Like I'll be at work, and I'll be like monitoring, just stand there, and I'll almost just pass out. Like my knees will buckle, and I have to catch myself. Like my brain refuses to stay awake unless I have some form of caffeine.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like my brain function is very different. For me, it's like more of a mood altering effect. Well, like I can stay awake without it, but like I'm just like not as productive and I hate my life a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of out of shit for right now. I mean, unless you can think of something
Well, we've been recording for an hour and
like at
three
least an hour.
minutes. An hour and
Yeah,
three
an
minutes.
hour.
So do you want to call here
Call
or
it here.
yeah? Do like I think this is a pretty good like episode back. We didn't have Brandon on today, but he's in Texas with some family right now. But yeah, hopefully for the next episode we could bring him on, and we could possibly do like the in-person podcast. Because
Yeah, hopefully.
I think that would be like really fun to do. I also
That was the original plan.
yeah, and then we kind of just had this spur of the moment idea.
Yeah, things
Um,
went their own ways.
yeah, I really want to bring Alex on because I feel like Alex could be a really good like Alex kind of makes himself out to be like this silly goofy kind of dude, but like I I can kind of tell that he has a lot to say. Like
Yeah,
Alex is anything but stupid. I can tell that for a fact. He's not dumb by any means. Maybe you know how people kind of put themselves down, kind of sort of, like he may think that, but like I feel like Alex has a lot to bring to the table, and I feel like he could really add a lot.
at least with ideologies.
Ideologies, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think the four of us are a really good blend. Me, you, Brandon, and Alex. And if you, unless you like want to join the podcast as a co-host, or if Alex wants to join as a co-host, Like that's completely up to you guys. I just kind of threw the idea out there.
I would as like a kind of I can't, you know, I'll be on and off. Like I can't like make much of a commitment because I don't know what's going on. But I can always work around some shit and always be like here every other episode or maybe even every episode. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like because we have pretty differing lifestyles and everything, so it timing can be pretty awkward. So yeah, I completely understand that.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, by the way, I was kind of doing this as I was talking, but I was able to. I remembered the password to the Vibe Talk channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we. I have the first three episodes on right here. First episode was Death and Beyond, and then the second one was Life versus Conspiracy, and then the third one was Caffeine Overdose. The first one was 4 years ago, and the latest one was 2 years ago.
Vibe talk.
Yeah, like the vibe. This is the at the beginning, so the Vibe
I
Talk.
wasn't ever on one of those episodes, was I?
No, you weren't,
Okay,
unfortunately.
why does it just sound I think I did something like that with one of my friends, like, and I think I named it like Vibe Talk or something very similar, but we never like ended up posting. Can't
Yeah,
remember who I did that,
the,
but that must have been a few years back.
yeah. The channel has been predominantly just me and Brandon.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys kind of fell off when you got busy, huh?
Yeah, well, we kept having a lot of talk. Like we wanted to keep doing the podcast because I don't know. We like the idea of doing a podcast, honestly, but we never got around
Yeah,
to it. Yeah, I'm hoping now that we can actually, get
start
this back up and
something.
running. Yeah, because I think it's fun. I think it's honestly pretty fun. I like the idea. I listen to podcasts like all the time, so like I kind of like hearing other people's opinions and stuff. Well, we know each other pretty well to like kind of build off each other,
Yeah,
which is why like a lot of podcasts will have like guest celebrities or they'll bring on scientists or astrophysicists or whoever. But I feel like we can all kind of talk about a subject, kind of extensively talk about it, and then and we're all comfortable enough to like make jokes and crack wise. So it can be like funny and intriguing, I guess.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of playing it by ear. We could have we could have a completely different lens in like a year. I do want to get the podcast on Spotify. I think that'd be pretty fun.
That would be.
Yeah, I don't know if I have to pay for that sort of
Would
thing or
you
if
end the
it's like
podcast
YouTube.
already?
What?
Did you end the podcast already?
No, we're still recording.
Yeah,
I was gonna do a little outro. I just wanted to talk about that.
if you need to, you can cut it to the outro from
Yeah.
whatever point we actually like stopped talking about the podcast.
No, I think this part's fine. Like
Okay.
we're not talking about anything bad.
Bro,
So
I am so cooked right now. Like I've just my sleep has been so weird.
yeah, you should probably get to bed, man.
Dude, I don't think that's gonna help me.
Uh,
Nothing helps. No.
I don't know
I
what's.
had a Benadryl like the other night, and dude, that straight screwed me. Like I get like I cannot have like any like and I can't have melatonin, Benadryl. I just get so weird. Like I don't even know.
NyQuil.
Dude, I would probably be off my jiggas on NyQuil. Dude, I mean any sort of like sleep medicine, it takes like a few hours to kick in, but when it kicks in, bro, I just get like you know how we were just talking about having super vivid dreams and everything like that?
Yeah, you
Take
should
that to the 10th power.
like kaleidoscopic shit.
Dude, no, that's like if you take that times Avogadro's number,
Oh, okay.
6.022 times 10 up the 23rd. Like, I mean, Jesus. I mean, the negative 23rd.
Have you tried like maybe getting knocked out? I I don't know. I don't know how to help you, man.
Oh,
Maybe magnesium.
no, I'm just saying, like, anything that helps me get to sleep, like, makes me in such a deep sleep that, like, my dreams get, like, really whack.
Yeah, getting silly with it.
And I wake up, like, in a, like, visible irritation. Like, I'm just, like, I hate the world. Like, I mean, it just screws me. Like, you never let me take Benadryl or anything. Like, I took, like, a half one, like I said the other night. Like, it was just crazy.
And you're just off the wall. Yeah.
No, like, I mean, I'm not hyper. Like, it's just, like, it helps me, but, like, it goes, like, the extra mile. Like, it does more than it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, it knocks me out, don't get me wrong, but, like, it's, like, so far out of reality. Like, I'm, like, pretty much in an induced, like, in an induced coma. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like an overstatement, but, like, I just don't feel right.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. I'm no therapist or physical therapist or anything to do with sleep, but if I would, I'd try to help you sleep because if you actually lack on sleep, it can send you into a form of psychosis.
Mm, I'm already there.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that.
I am, like, not right, but in a good way, in a haha funny way, in a bruh.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Uh, all right. Well, do you want to end the episode here now?
yeah, for sure. See
All right.
y'all later.
Yep. Thanks. This has been episode 4 of the Vibe Talk podcast. Thank you guys for listening to this rant. We can't pinky promise, but we'll promise to upload some more stuff here in the future. Time has not really been on our side, and I guess it doesn't really uh, cover the 2 years we've been gone. But whatever, that didn't happen. You're dreaming.
Exactly,
All
exactly.
right. Have a good
Wait,
night.
one
What?
more thing. Love the geeks and clap some cheeks. Let's see you later.
All right. Good night, everyone.